They claimed the dirt would break her. They dissected her stats, ignored her heart, and counted her out. Then she hit the clay pulverized grabber in 2 straight and dominated the court with a savage, unrelenting baseline assault. Next, she went head-to-head with Jelena Ostapenko. She came within 6 agonizing, heart-stopping points of taking down a French Open titan on the red grid. She scrapped for every grain of dirt. She punched her ticket into the Stuttgart main draw through sheer unrefined willpower. Now, as if the gods of sport penned this script themselves, we are witnessing the most high-stakes, explosive, and culturally massive opening round of the 2026 clay season. Stop what you are doing. Drop the phone, crank the volume to the max, and shut out the rest of the world. What just went down at the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix draw ceremony is far beyond a simple match. Calling this a game is an insult to the spectacle. This is a massive cultural collision. It is a clash of eras, a total upheaval of the Pro Tour landscape. This is the kind of cinematic drama Hollywood writers would reject for being too unbelievable, too rich with irony, too perfectly staged to be real. Yet here it is, live on Monday, April 13th, under the intense glare of the Porsche Arena in Stuttgart. Alexandra Eala versus Leylah Fernandez, the pride of the Philippines against the Canadian superstar. Pinoy power on both sides of the tape, left-handers locked in combat. The 20-year-old sensation sharpened in the brutal elite fires of the Nadal Academy, squaring off against the woman who shocked the world and stormed the United States Open final when she was only 18. We are talking about 2 athletes sharing the same ancestral bloodline, separated by 21 ranking spots, having never faced each other, and riding completely different waves of momentum. And they are set to collide on European clay in one of the most high-pressure elite indoor venues on the planet. Let me get real about Leylah Fernandez. If you sleep on this woman for even a second, you have already lost the plot. She is not just a name on the bracket. She is a 5-time champion on the main tour. 5 trophies. Let that sink in. Eala is still hunting for her first. Fernandez dominated Monterrey twice. She crossed the globe to conquer Hong Kong. She ruled the courts in Washington, D.C. to snatch a massive 500-level title. She swept through Osaka. Leylah has lived in the championship spotlight that Alexandra Eala is currently grinding for every single day in the gym. American fans know exactly where they were during that magical late summer of 2021. You remember the raw energy vibrating through Arthur Ashe Stadium in Flushing Meadows. You remember an 18-year-old girl walking onto the world's most intimidating stage and refusing to flinch. She toppled Osaka Kerber Svitolina and Sabalenka in a series of absolute marathons. She slayed giant after giant before the final showdown. That New York run is a battle-scarred manifesto of a player who thrives under the hottest lights in sports, looking the world's best in the eye and swinging until the last woman stands. She hit world number 13. She has stood on the podium of a major. She has lifted hardware on every surface imaginable. Ranked 25 right now, she sits 21 spots above her opponent. Led by her father, Jorge Fernandez, her lifelong mentor and coach, she plays a game built on pure aggression and frustrating variety, a terrifying ability to turn up the heat when the pressure reaches a boiling point. She is trilingual, a former French Open junior champ, and the first Canadian to do it since Bouchard, and her mother is Filipino-Canadian. That one detail, that single thread of DNA, is what changes everything. It turns a standard first-round match into a massive tectonic cultural event. Leylah Fernandez has that Pinoy spirit in her veins. She has always been vocal and proud of her mixed heritage, claiming both her Filipino and Latina roots. Her mother, Irene, connects her to the same 115 million fans who are currently screaming for Alexandra Eala. This creates a narrative tension the tennis world has literally never experienced. 2 stars with deep Filipino roots facing off on the world stage for the first time. It is happening on German clay, with a path to the round of 16 on the line, where the 5th seed, Jasmine Paolini, is already waiting. Understand the Eala army. They are class. They do not trash talk. They respect the grind, but make no mistake, their loyalty is a fortress that never breaks. And this Monday night in Stuttgart, that thunderous support belongs only to Alexandra Eala. Now let's break down the tactical war about to explode inside the Porsche arena. This is where sentiment dies and a high-stakes tactical nightmare begins. We have two southpaws here, rare lethal outliers in the professional game. They represent only 10% of the tour. Righties train forever to counter righty spin. When two lefties clash, the court's entire geometry suddenly flips. It's a total system crash, instantly neutralizing every perfected pattern. Take that slicing out wide ad-court serve that usually leaves righties stranded. Against another lefty, that ball feeds their power. Those cross-court weapons suddenly fail. Every tactical strike is now flying directly into the opponent's greatest strength. Every instinct and playbook entry must be torched and rewritten on the fly. This is a high-pressure mirror match played on the global stage. It is lightning-fast chess where both sides use the exact same pieces. For Alexandra Eala, this is a brutal, high-stakes psychological gauntlet. Fernandez is Eala's Ghost 23 with 5 titles versus 20 with none. Leylah survived a New York final. Eala hasn't cleared a major's first round. 300 career victories versus Eala's recent 200-win milestone. This massive experience divide is heavy, real, and impossible to ignore. Yet looking closer at their trajectories reveals a far more gripping narrative. Leylah's 2026 is a nightmare. A dismal 4-9 record. Let's be honest, 4 wins and 9 losses isn't a killer's form. It's the record of a wounded athlete fumbling for answers in the dark. She's chasing her former top 15 magic. Just look at her season. Early exits everywhere. Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, Abu Dhabi, Doha, Dubai, Indian Wells, and Miami. The iron confidence that broke legends in New York is currently flickering. The fire remains, but it's wavering. Meanwhile, Eala brings a 15-9 record. That tally includes an Auckland semi-final and deep Middle Eastern runs. After strong sunshine double pushes, she's climbed to 29 in the world. She has dismantled veterans like Vekic Paolini and Yastremska along the way. She's fresh off a razor-thin clay loss decided by a mere 6 points. Momentum, form, and visceral hunger all clearly belong to Eala. The 20-year-old Filipina is starving for that first maiden title. Out there alone on an island, raw hunger often beats pure talent. Yet Leylah's talent remains terrifyingly dangerous, even during this slump. Never mistake her struggles for weakness. That forehand is a surgical blade. She masks her intentions until the last millisecond, snapping the ball anywhere. Her backhand carves out sharp, punishing angles that defy standard geometry. At 5'6", her footwork is explosive, compact, and utterly relentless. She guards the baseline like she is 4 inches taller. She teleports between shots, arriving balanced before the opponent even recovers. That 2021 open fire is still burning inside her. Those iconic screams and bone-chilling fist pumps haven't gone anywhere. That internal pilot light can turn into an inferno at any moment. A champion with her pedigree doesn't need form. She just needs one spark. One break, one crowd roar, or one impossible winner off the line. Give her that spark and that 4-9 record instantly evaporates. The slump vanishes, and the lethal finalist returns to take your head off. Alexandra Eala must storm this Monday night clash with the same relentless, suffocating intensity she used to hunt down Ostapenko in Linz. This is about more than the final score. It is about pure mentality. Eala clocked a staggering 88% first serve accuracy in that showdown. She was a cold-blooded surgeon on breakpoints, maintaining an ironclad tactical discipline that pushed a former French Open champion to her absolute limit. If Eala brings that same level of tunnel vision focus to the Porsche arena, Fernandez's shaky form will simply collapse under the pressure. But let's address the real issue, the second serve. That is the entire ball game. The brutal lesson Eala learned in Linz must be applied here in Stuttgart. Her second serve win rate against Ostapenko was Well, take a guess. 0%. Every time she missed her first serve, she lost the point. That single catastrophic weakness was the razor-thin margin between a massive victory and a crushing defeat. If she coughs up a weak, floating second serve to Leylah Fernandez, she's going home early. Fernandez is a savage returner with world-class timing and lightning-fast reflexes. She loves to crowd the baseline, taking the ball early to snatch time away from her opponent, and she dictates play from the jump. A soft serve will not just be returned, it will be destroyed. But Eala has an ace up her sleeve. The masterminds at the Rafael Nadal Academy have spent a week in the lab dissecting this exact flaw. They have been grinding on spin rates, adjusting her toss, and dialing in her placement. They are perfecting the disguise to keep that serve out of the strike zone, where Fernandez can comfortably unload and attack. If Eala steps onto the court Monday night and shows even a 10% bump in serve speed and placement, the entire tactical landscape shifts violently in her favor. Throw in the indoor clay of Stuttgart and the variables get even crazier. The Porsche Arena is not your typical dirt. Indoor clay is a different beast entirely compared to the windy, unpredictable courts in Linz. No sun, no wind, no distractions. The bounce is mechanical. The lighting is flawless, and most importantly, the court is fast. This crushed brick is rolled to precise German standards, making it play quicker than traditional outdoor clay. For Eala, with those grinding clay matches already in her legs, these controlled conditions are a massive tactical advantage. The consistent bounce kills the bad luck, allowing her to time those massive ground strokes with surgical precision. That extra court speed plays right into her aggressive return game. A return game that has seen her break opponents in 36.7% of games throughout this 2026 season. Eala is a predator on the return, and this court helps her hunt. Now look at Leylah Fernandez. She is coming off the slippery green clay of Charleston before a long flight across the Atlantic to Stuttgart. That green clay is nothing like German red dirt. She barely scraped by in one match before getting bounced in South Carolina. Her total clay record for 2026 sits at a mediocre 1 win and 1 loss. That is not enough time to find your rhythm or your footing on this surface. It is a total mystery, a high-stakes coin flip. And coin flips in the first round of a massive 500-level event are exactly where the ALR army thrives. But look at the bigger picture, because what comes next is dripping with blockbuster potential. The winner of this dogfight does not get a break. Their reward is a second-round war with the 5th seed, Jasmine Paolini, an Italian superstar and French Open finalist, who knows how to survive on clay. But here is the twist. Paolini is the same player Eala absolutely dismantled 6-1-7-6 in Dubai earlier this year. It was a terrifyingly dominant performance. Eala already owns the mental edge in that matchup. If Eala survives Fernandez and repeats history against Paolini, she hits the quarterfinals, where she will face either the top-seeded Ice Queen Elena Rybakina or the human wrecking ball Diana Schneider. Looking even further, the semi-finals likely feature the ultimate boss, Iga Swiatek, the undisputed queen of clay. But Swiatek now has Francisco Roig in her corner, the man who coached Nadal at the academy that built Alexandra Eala. It is a deeply tangled web of training and tactics connecting Eala's roots to Swiatek's new direction. This is a storyline the mainstream media is completely sleeping on. This draw is a masterpiece screenplay. The opening scene is Eala versus Fernandez under the lights of the Porsche Arena with a gleaming Porsche 911 Carrera S Cabriolet sitting courtside, its headlights staring, waiting for the one woman tough enough to survive 5 brutal rounds against the world's best. This is the deepest WTA 500 draw of the year, but nobody hoists a trophy on opening night. Before the dreams matter, Monday night has to go down. Warm-up gear hits the bench. The chair umpire calls time. That first ball toss hangs in the air, and the first lung-shredding, dirt-clogging rally begins. Two world-class southpaws, both fueled by their Filipino blood, are about to stare each other down across the net and go to absolute war. This isn't just about survive and advance. This is a brutal street fight for the soul of their season's momentum. They're clawing for ranking points that determine their seeding all year long. They're hunting for that lethal confidence needed for Madrid and the red clay of Roland Garros. For Alexandra Eala, this is about keeping a beautiful clay court comeback alive. A journey that kicked off with her absolutely dismantling grabber in 2 quick sets. It's a tale that survived a gut-wrenching, soul-crushing, 6-point heartbreaker against Ostapenko. Now the next massive chapter unfolds against a slam finalist in the most prestigious indoor clay arena on earth. The Eala army knows what time it is. This is a full-scale call to arms. Every single fan needs to lock in and mobilize right now. Blast this everywhere immediately. Blow up the group chats. Flood your feeds. Tag every Filipino and Canadian sports handle out there. Force the internet to look. Let the world know the most culturally explosive, tactically genius clay showdown is happening this Monday night at the Porsche Arena. I need you to drown the comment section right this second. Put your money where your mouth is. How does Eala break down the twisted mirror image geometry of a southpaw on southpaw showdown? What specific serve targets actually work against a lefty returner with Fernandez's lightning-fast hands and freakish timing? How does Eala handle the mental demons of her second serve? After that, Lynn's reality check turned this section into a high-level tactical war room. Spam those Philippine flags. Drop the fire. Tell the world that when Stuttgart paired Eala against Fernandez, they didn't just book a match. They struck a match and torched a global debate about bloodlines, heritage, and the diaspora. This is about identity and the terrifying, unstoppable surge of Filipino tennis on the world's biggest stage. 2 southpaws, 2 warrior hearts, 1 patch of red clay. One moves on, one goes home. Stuttgart's quiet arena has no clue what kind of hurricane is about to make landfall. Let me leave you with one final thought, because it is the exact mentality that separates the Eala army from every other fair-weather fan base in sports. The tennis elites and the talking heads are already calling this a total mismatch. They're obsessed with the stats. World number 25 versus number 46. 5 career titles against 0. A US Open finalist, facing someone who's never cleared the first round of a major. On paper, Leylah Fernandez owns this. Every single algorithm and every sharp betting house in Vegas is putting their money on the Canadian. Data gives Fernandez a 56% mathematical edge to win this battle. History says she wins. The trophy case says she wins. But computers don't know that paper doesn't play. It doesn't sweat. It doesn't bleed. Analytics can't track the raw momentum of a girl with 15 hard-earned wins in 2026 facing an opponent who's only tasted victory 4 times. Paper can't measure the pure fire in the eyes of a 20-year-old who came within 6 points of slaying a Grand Slam queen 6 days ago. Instead of hiding in her hotel and pouting, she packed her bags and dove straight back into the fire. Paper doesn't know what it's like to wake up before dawn, to bleed at the Nadal Academy every single day. It can't quantify the soul of an athlete who's absorbed the obsessive, never-say-die spirit of the most relentless competitor this sport has ever produced. It can't calculate the grit needed to treat morning practice like the 5th set of Wimbledon, or every ball like a fight for life. Paper can't account for the energy when 115 million Filipinos tune in from Manila to LA to Dubai, pouring their collective soul into one girl standing alone on that German red dirt. Leylah Fernandez knows pressure. She stood tall under the most blinding lights in tennis at the 2021 US Open and almost conquered the world. But she has never felt the unique, suffocating, bone-crushing pressure of the Eala army. She's never felt the physical weight of an entire nation willing her opponent forward, dragging her across the finish line with every grunt and every strike. Fernandez has never stepped onto a court knowing the girl across from her isn't just playing for a ranking. She's carrying a movement that never sleeps, never rests, and refuses to see defeat as anything but a speed bump toward history. Alexandra Eala's career clay record might be 15 and 22, but we do not live in the past. In 2026, her record is essentially 1 and 1, one dominant demolition of a clay court specialist, one razor-thin, heart-stopping battle against a major champion. The sample size is tiny, but the trajectory is screaming toward the stars. If she hits that court Monday and locks in, staking her claim with a massive upset against a 5-time champion and former finalist on this indoor clay, her career trajectory isn't just curving, it's exploding. The old story is getting torched and rebuilt into a brand new legend. It's the very nightmare the tennis brass has dreaded since a skinny kid with a powerhouse forehand first showed up at the Nadal Academy. The secret's out. Eala isn't a one-surface wonder. She's a relentless force adapting to any environment and weaponizing every failure. She's here to break whoever stands in her way, regardless of the court. Monday, April 13th. The Porsche Arena. Pristine indoor clay. A tactical war between two elite lefties. A historic high-stakes battle for Filipino glory. This is the most loaded, adrenaline-soaked opening round of the 2026 season. Don't blink, history is getting written in the red dust.